Hail, hail! Good to see you all. We're here on time, 4 o'clock, and we've got a wee topic to wrestle with today. We've got a lot going on this week. We've got the Thursday game at Stuttgart, which is probably going to be a main theme of kind of the conversation we've got today because it's very much the precursor to Sunday, 1st of March, Derby time. We've got an away stand, it feels like, I think, for this one, or maybe that's the cup. I forget. I'm losing track for it all. But we are don't want to rehash too much. There's been a lot said about it on the channel already. We did the reaction to the Hibs game. We did a breakdown yesterday, which a bunch of you checked out. And I'm glad if anybody's enjoyed it. So yeah, we really find ourselves in the eye of the storm. We really find ourselves in the middle of it. I'm at the point where I have zero expectation on Celtic. Maybe even finishing second. I was going to say winning the league, but maybe even finishing second. I have no expectation towards that. I'm not saying it won't happen, or I don't hope it happens, or anything like that. I just don't expect it. I don't see how I just don't see how it's possible, how it's going to happen. And one of the main reasons for that is the dysfunctional nature of the midfield. I'm not too sure how to say it, but I'm sure you can help me out with that one. And this has been a problem that on the channel we have discussed in many different ways, from Ange Postecoglou, Brendan Rodgers, the wee bit of Nancy, and all the way through to Martin O'Neill. And the problems, many of you will be commenting on it already, I'm sure, we have all been able to see. It has been there as clear as day for all of us. And the recruitment process is something that is often a topic of conversation, sadly. But the biggest dereliction of duty, the biggest oversight that the club has done has been making the midfield so thin and so weak. For me, and everyone's opinions on football are different. Some of you will be real big, can you win the league without a defence kind of person, or you can't win matches without goal scorers, that kind of vibe. For me, the midfield is everything for a team. And again, with strikers and defence, there's a lot of great examples we can talk about or whatever, but I don't think you'll find any great examples that do not include a midfield that enforces the defence, that enhances the attack in some way. So I'm very much a midfield engine room. Midfield is the heartbeat of the team, where all the circulation comes from and where the tempo, where the drive comes from, And our engine room, our midfield for, like, even back to Ange times, the Ange midfield was probably, I would not, we wouldn't even say probably, I would say definitely the strongest midfield composition, personnel, and had the most success I think I've ever seen out of a Celtic midfield is the actual midfield being the driver. I'm thinking back to like Brendan first time around, and I do think the midfield was great, with like your Rogic, McGregor, Brown type thing, and maybe in Cham. But there was also Sinclair, Dembele, Edward. I'm thinking about Ronnie Dyla teams. It was like Beaton and Stefan Johansson and stuff like that. Again, like they're not big shakes. And then you're going way back down the annals of time. And I don't think the midfield has been as good as it was under Ange. Balance, poise, execution, control, everything that really went alongside that. But even at that, we kind of knew it wasn't perfect. Ange was even still like brought in Tomoki Iwata. Obviously, he brought him in and never played him, and that kind of spiraled on into his own thing. But even from then, even when that midfield was at peak potential powers, we had all the guys there. They don't need names. You know who they were. We still didn't have that guy with spidey senses, that guy with a nose for danger, that sort of player that can, read the game, be in the right place, snuff something out, or if they do get on the ball, can quickly get it out of danger and move it forward and let better footballers carry it up the pitch and go forth and do something. So we don't have the person that we need right now. We don't have the person that we've needed for a very, very long time. And the Hibs breakdown, the video that went out yesterday, we spoke about to a decent level of detail. I forget how long we spent on it. Miguel Chaiwa, the midfielder at Hibs that we were actually linked to in the summer, in January, which I found a bit surprising at the time. I'd seen he'd got some good write-ups and all the rest of it, but our link to him, came straight from the rumour mill. It wasn't like a Celtic fan thing or, Motherwell players and all that caper. And we balked at the price. And I really did think, in reflection of the Hibs game, if that guy was in our team, we would have won, and we're very much crying out for that. So we don't have, and we just do not have the solution that can plug in and play. Now, we had a bit of a temporary solution under Martin O'Neill since he's been back in second time around, and it was the reimagination of Arnie Engels and what he is and what he does and how the team can build around that midfield. And it very much went back to like peak Brendan Rodgers Mark II, and it went back a bit to some of the hallmarks of a kind of Ange midfield where, like it was deep players, but deep players that can be on the ball, deep players that can arrive in the box still, deep players that can help wingers out, and that sort of thing. But with Engels now not returning until after the March international break is the latest reporting that we've got, which is April, is what that means. We are currently in the last week of February, so we're still looking at 5 to 6 weeks before Arne is back in training and maybe in the team to. And does he even really completely cure the problem we have in midfield? No, but he can get us back to where the midfield was, where although not perfect and not fully firing, was certainly more than good enough to get the wins, to get the results that Martin O'Neill had been producing up until this point. So we'll throw up the on screen and I'll take a wee breath and catch up with you guys. This is the depth that we've got going into the Stuttgart second leg. And for all intents and purposes, it's really not too far off who's actually available there on after anyway. The only difference being Benjamin Arthur, and Vuka and Balikwisha, any guys like that, really. And Oxlade-Chamberlain. So there's not too much. I think if I press the number 1 here, yeah, we get the actual depth, but obviously Engels is injured. And then this is, like the depth that we have for Europe. So this is what we've got to play with. Now, take a wee breath. There's a bunch of here, by the way. Thanks to everyone joining us live and loud. If you are watching us live, if you could smash the like button, that goes a long, long, long way to support the channel. And some of the support we've had on the channel, we do not deserve it, guys. Some of you are absolute heroes and legends and absolute champions. One thing I'll always say or often say on this channel is the community that we have on CeltsAreHere in terms of you guys that show up in the live chat and show up in the comment section. You guys know your onions. You know, you guys come here and like I met when I was at the game at the weekend. I met somebody that watches the content. I bumped into him actually twice. I really forgot his name, so I'm terribly sorry because I did want to make mention to it if it came up in chat. Really nice guy, and if I do bump into people that watch the content, they're normally always quite happy, and almost to a man or almost to a person, well, almost every one of them say to me is, "I love your content because it's just about football." And that's, again, kind of what we're here all about. And I think you guys appreciate that for everything that it's worth. And of course, we highlight and we discuss all the stuff that goes on at boardroom level, in the recruitment department, in the dugout, on the training ground, and really everything to do with the football aspect of things. And the support that I got back from you guys through all the whirlwind of crap that had been flying around, even from other Celtic fans, which really just, that was anyway, I don't need to go into it all. The bit that surprised me and saddened me the most. But again, I can't say it very much. I can't say it enough, guys. The support from you guys, wild, incredible. Thank you very much. And if you do enjoy content, liking, subscribing, and commenting is more than enough. Never mind you guys. You know what I mean? Like I'm reading threads, and some of you guys are like jumping and like honestly, you are absolute legends. And thanks to everyone that supports the channel, supports the content, and is taking it upon themselves to be a social media keyboard warrior for me. So thank you. It's not lost on me. It's very much appreciated, and I will genuinely never forget it. It will be hard to. So thanks for the support, and thanks for all you guys. And if you're here live and loud, good to see you. And we're here to talk about the football as always. But let me catch up with the chat, because there's a bunch of yous here. The midfield is a big, big topic. And it's something that we've all been discussing, wrestling with, and shouting out loud. That the answer's obvious. Play this guy. We've all been doing it, or buy a guy like this. For so long. Please going to give me some form of belief ahead of Sunday, Quinny. Lie to me, anything at all. Now, I will never. As much as I just can't bring myself to say it out loud. I just do not expect us to really turn this around. I don't think it means we go on a mad losing streak and we're just going to get sunk, and we're going to be cut adrift. I still think it's going to be nip and tuck and win and loss, and it's going to change probably every weekend. But I just think the advantage Hearts have, we need to play Rangers in the league twice more. We need to play Hearts once more. We've got midweek fixture pile up. The squad isn't great. I cannot imagine that we not only bridge the gap, but overtake Hearts ultimately. I think Hearts are going to win the league at this point. It's probably where I'm at. But in terms of the weekend, everything's to play for still. Don't get me wrong. No, it's actually not. It's actually not. It's actually a Fenerbahce hoodie. Would you believe it? My midfield would be a 4. Now, I'm really glad you've thrown that up there, Hoopsaholic. Scratchy. So who's itchy? If we've got Scratchy left back, then who's Itchy? Who is Itchy? Is Itchy maybe, I was going to say Araujo because he's like a wee guy. Itchy's the wee one, isn't he? Who's like a wee guy in the team? Hitate, maybe? Is he Itchy? Itchy and Scratchy? That's a funny one. Ox, Calmac, and Araujo. We're putting the Negren up top in a 2. I really do echo the Negren thoughts there, and that really does paint a big picture into how we fix the midfield. And there's a few options I'm happy to, or I want to discuss with you guys, and really looking forward to seeing your thoughts and feelings. And a big part of this Sunday is do or die for Rory. Do or die was, I think do or die started for me like the day Martin O'Neill came back after Nancy, and I think that we didn't. So I think we're goosed. But yeah, even more so at the weekend. You know, it would be the completely final nail in the coffin, I think, should they do it. Hail, hail, Quinny from the Outer Hebrides, Isle of Harris. Well, thank you very much for tuning in. What time is it up there? Thanks for joining us, mate. Love to hear it. DG, good to see you. Fireworks at the weekend. Oh, let's hope so. Michael, legend, mate. Good to see you. Morning, the coaching team could do a bit of experimenting on Thursday. Now, Paul, I like your train of thought there. We'll probably pick up on that too. And Sriracha in midfield would be a masterstroke. Now, I kind of agree. Like we kind of, I'll maybe touch on Sriracha first. I'm gonna end up stealing that one, because I completely agree. For us as Celtic fans, what we've seen from fullbacks that operate well in midfield, Greg Taylor being the poster child, even Josip Juranovic, who did a bit of a turn in there as well. We've even seen the likes of Ralston, and maybe even to a lesser extent in Celtic fans' eyes, Alistair Johnson. So I totally get how everyone, no, not everyone, but how there's like an underbelly of like, let's get Sriracha in there. The only thing I have with it is just the only experience I have of the difference of these things, where I think players that are really comfortable on the line, where this is their view of the match the whole way, you know, is they live a different life to guys that play in the middle and are on a swivel constantly. They're moving forward, they're moving back, they're filling out here, they're covering back there, they're over here, they're over there. It's just a different world. So that's where I'm always a bit hesitant in this modern climate to just assume fullbacks can slide in there. I think if he is comfortable and capable, I make you very right, K9, CFC, and everyone else that says Scratchy, because he's got the tenacity, he's got that kind of nose for danger. We know he can tackle and defend, and he does have a good range of passing. So if he is getting the ball in a trouble zone, you can, you can back him, you can believe in him to get the ball out of trouble and up the pitch. So I agree, he has all the raw materials to pull it off. I just don't know, without knowing the lad personally, can he get off the line and be a guy that's in the middle? That's the only thing I don't know. And that's the big question mark around it all, to be quite honest with you. So I do agree, but I can't really think about it further because of what I've just said, really. But great, that is a great shout. And on that note, I'll just say this, we can kind of button up the repurposed left back thing. I actually think Tierney's your better bet out of converting a fullback into the middle. He's just a lot more composed, experienced, disciplined. And unlike Sriracha and maybe Araujo and other fullbacks, like Tierney doesn't need to be on the line. He's got centre-back experience like we know, but he's a guy that if he's in these pockets, which he can be in open play for us anyway, he doesn't struggle. You know, he doesn't get lost. He doesn't get like, lost at sea on a swivel and, lose his man and all that kind of thing. Would he be natural at it? Would he be great at it? I don't know. Is he going to play against Stuttgart? I hope not as well. So, I would just kind of put that back out there. I do think Elijah Just would be a good signing for us as well. Michael, I caught that article as well. It came out on CeltsAreHere. I think it's an exclusive from us. But yeah, we're looking at some Plymouth strikers. Isn't that fantastic? In League One. Quinny, what do you think of moving Tierney in one and having Sriracha left back? Now, for the weekend, I have seen some people floating that idea around. And I actually find it really hard to go against it for the derby match at the weekend, because I don't think in good conscience we could play Dane Murray, and playing Ben Arthur is a coin toss. It's a real roll of the dice, isn't it? It was Scott Brown. Yeah, we did have that in that midfield prior, don't get me wrong. But I don't even think that midfield was good back then. But I do think, like, I loved Rogic, I love McGregor, I love Brown, I love them all, right? Legends and heroes. But I think that peak midfield of McGregor, O'Reilly, Hatate with Taylor, I don't think there's been a better team that's dominated the league the way that they did, even though Brendan's got invincibles and trebles and all that. I think that Ange team was... I wonder who's got the record for goals and points and stuff like that, actually. But we should have went for Bakayoko. I don't even think he's playing, to be honest with you. I remember that link as well when it came out. Where is he? Timoon Bakayoko, I think it is, isn't it? Bakayoko, is it? I mean, he's still available if we really cared that much. But yeah, this is another... It's Oxlade-Chamberlain. It's like all these guys that are half fit and out of form. I did a tweet about Nicholas Füllkrug yesterday. You know we're going to get linked to him any minute. We could play Donovan and Araujo under it. And I think that chat came up on Axom yesterday, M. Young. I really don't mind that train of thought also. But the worry I have with that is it's just... I think you would want to... I think if you're going to do that, I would personally want to take a centre-back out of the picture to do that. There's plenty of like good guys that you could just like, again, as you know, like the hardest thing to find, especially for us right now, is wingers, is guys that unlock defenses, that change games, that win games. They are the hardest thing to find and the most expensive thing to buy. The least expensive and the easiest thing to find is defensive players. There's just way more of them. They're everywhere. It's an easier skill set for professional players to master and use, essentially. And yeah, you might need to have some criteria and all the rest of it, and some parameters of guys you're after. You don't want them too old, too young, too expensive in Celtic's case, I guess. And yeah, there is plenty of them out there, and we've just continuously just never looked for them, you know. Second guy to... this is actually a fleece from Fenerbahce, would you believe it? It's pretty good, but it's you need to wear something else with it. I'll give you the link for it if I can find it, because it was very cheap. It was very cheap. And since we're doing not another penny, this is actually kind of on point. What the hell is there? I think it's called the Fenarium. Yeah, the Fenarium is the name of the shop. I got this from Turkey, cheap AF. Import and all that wasn't any issue. You can do Google Translate. I can't find the actual thing. I'll find it in a second and give you it. It has two people. It's asked. I like it. I couldn't take it off. It does need dry cleaned only though, which is a minor pain in the butt. Outlet. I'll find it in a second. This kind of distracted me, sorry. But if you're into it, I'll share it with you. I'll find it. Anyway. Sriracha, Ox, Kalmak, Araujo. Again, yeah, a bit of the fullback action coming back into the chat again. Play... Gregor, have you been looking at my notes? Play a 4-2-2-2-2, like Leipzig or a Fletty. Ox and McGregor in deep, McCowan and Negren and those 10-second strikers, and Tam and Adamu up front. That would be interesting. As a Stuttgart game is nearly out of sight, we could try and use this game to do something different. Paul Douglas, I'm with you there. Thanks very much, Regina. I appreciate the support and all that. Yeah, no, I'm with you, CB. It's not really negativity, you know what I mean? It is just, it's your own gut feeling. It's a bit of realization, I think, on some stuff. Hatate, because he's itching to leave. Oh, that's good. Or Itchy Nacho. Oh, I like that. Kaiser Soze, love that. Oh, Gus Fitzsimmons, thank you very much for the super chat, my man. Absolutely means everything, mate. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Double fist bumps to you. I think Casper's maybe had a prawn sandwich or two in his time. And the chats, I won't be able to keep up with all the chat, but I'm trying to skip ahead a wee bit. No, don't worry, mate. I'm bad for... If you can tell, when I play a lot of Football Manager. Well, again, like, I can dig it. Didn't John Barnes do a 4-2-2? I'm not too sure. Odin home comeback? Oh, Jesus. Chemical glasses. You're a heavy goon. Like, do we need to put that filter on again? Nice to see you, mate. Thanks for the chat. In case you don't know this, the way YouTube works is the more people that are in the chat, YouTube thinks we're having a great time. So if you want to come in and comment, I really don't mind, but I also kind of be kind of gassed with a bit of the drama that you want to bring me. So chat for subs. Boom. There we go. Awesome. I'm a goon. What? What? I would consider a back. Yeah. So again, all right. Let's. All right. The problem with the midfield is that we don't have control. We don't have bite, and we also, as we've seen at the weekend, we don't really have a balance. We don't have a combination that fills Negren with enough confidence to stay higher in the pitch when he can and should do. Because I think he does have the ability to do that, but he'll read the game, he'll come deeper to support, and then he gets caught in a position on the ball or when the ball transitions where we don't want him to be. So he's not confident enough to hang high as often as he has done. We've seen it, and we need him to. Number one, right? Number two, we don't have the confidence in McGregor to just shield the defense and do what he does as natural instinct at the moment, and that's receive the ball, move the ball, circulate the ball, be the coach on the pitch, right? And that kind of bag. We don't want that. We don't need it. It's not going to help us, okay? So then we need one of the remaining three midfielders to be the glue player that Engels has excelled in being. Hatate used to excel at. Bernardo could have been the heir apparent to the throne, and that's kind of left him now, hasn't it? And between the three of them, none of them have really got the ghost. None of them have really got the profile, the will, the determination, the desire, the ability. You can categorize it however you want. So where we start with this is, who do we put in to balance the midfield appropriately? This is a conversation that we had in the lead up to the Hibs game. I'm pretty sure. I think last week we had a midfield kind of crisis video, and it was a case of just chatting about the dynamic we have right now. And do you play Bernardo? Do you play McCowan? Do you retain Hatate and try and like get him through this tough spot where he unlocks himself and he really comes good to it? Now, when he came on at the weekend, like, it wasn't on long before he went to 10 men. Didn't really have time to do much. I was interested to see how well he did off the bench, to see if he had a bit of bite about him. And it's really hard to judge. So I don't really want to comment on Hatate from the weekend. So I don't really think there's anything to comment on, positive or negative. But ultimately, what I came down with this is we did try Bernardo. And again, he's just absolutely lost at sea. He is just demotivated. He has negged out. He has lost himself. He's not got that vigor. He's not got that same, like, I'm here to be a Celtic player and I want to prove myself. It feels like he already knows he's going to leave and it's not worked out. He's probably quite gutted at that because he really bloody well. And again, we've spoken about this on Bernardo recently enough, but you can tell he loved being at Celtic. He really wanted it to work. He's seen us as the green and white Benfica. And obviously he's from Benfica, as a Benfica fan, and gets the status of a club like us, So I think his race is ran is probably the nicest way of putting it. And again, when we go back into this conversation of same style, same system, I am going to come back to the same conclusion I had last week, where if Bernardo is not in body, mind, and spirit to be the guy we need him to be, then I want Luke McCowan to come in and do that double kind of pivot shift with McGregor and be kind of like the Billy Gilmore equivalent to how McGregor played for Scotland, for example. Quite a similar little dynamic. And I thought I would bring this up just to maybe refresh memories. Some of you guys have been on the channel. We've been making content here now for, I want to say 4 years. Wow. Maybe 3. We've been making content here for a while. A fair while. And we used to talk about Luke McCowan quite a bit when he was at Dundee and playing against us, because in the vernacular that we use on the channel here, he was Scottish Hatate, if you want to look around the league and think about it. And we do it all the time. We're doing it this season even, weren't we? Another player who looks like a Celtic player stylistically, steps above the domestic level, and like could be a guy that does the job that Luke McCowan has been doing for us, can fill in, can rotate, can play domestically, okay, no problem. And plays for the shirt, maybe gives you an extra little bit of bite. But this is how his ratings, his performances for Dundee looked prior to him joining Celtic. And one of the things I wanted to highlight here was, and again, you guys know this Dundee team under Tony Docherty got lots of plaudits and praise for the way they played football. A lot of people were quite confused when he got sacked, despite saving them from relegation. And they actually had some really tidy players in some of these teams, the likes of Luke McCowan, of course, but also Niall Cameron, who now finds himself at Aberdeen, formerly Rangers. Owen Beck, who we were a big fan of. And I thought I would have seen Mulligan in this squad, but he's not there. The boy Boateng was actually quite good when he was there. I wonder where he's went to, probably England somewhere. So a decent effort in team. But this team played a 5-man midfield. And as you'll remember, or you probably don't need to think that hard about it or imagine, but this was not Luke McCowan in the free role, attacking and popping out into the wide spaces like we regularly use him. He was actually quite Rio Hatate, box to box, line to line, touch every ball, tackle every player, pass to everyone. And I'm talking about peak Hatate. And it maybe kind of cycles into maybe being kind of McGregorish. But I put him more as Hatate because he did press, he did win the ball back in kind of higher areas. And again, just to kind of walk ourselves down memory lane and kind of refresh ourselves, there was a game here against Hibs that I wanted to point out. At home, they lost 2-1. And this is the sort of performance you can get out of Luke McCowan domestically. He made 4 tackles in this game, which, when was the last time we've seen any midfielder on this show, on this channel, clocking 4 tackles in a match? On top of that, he won 11 duels, only lost 3. He made an interception. His pass count, pretty significant, right around good Hatate numbers. 32 passes overall, 3 of them attempted assists, balls that led to shots. 13 balls in the final third. He missed a few passes. He missed 9. 4 shots on target. 3 dribbles, 1, 7 balls into the box. I do think he took some set pieces as well. But a midfielder that did everything. Box to box, line to line. We can even look at this Rangers game even. They drew 0-0. He didn't even score a massive... I've not looked at this, right? But I bet you we see the sort of thing that we're after here. He was fouled 4 times. He gave away 2 fouls. That's good. He's won 4 free kicks, gave away 2 free kicks. He won 2 tackles. He won 8 duels, lost 8 duels. Great volume. He's not quite like, you know, like blasted whoever he was playing against out the water here, but gave as good as he got. And Dundee Rangers, you know, they're not going to be in good positions of the pitch, the area of the ground very often. So I quite like that. When it comes to the passing, 1 attempted assist, shots on goal, 3 penalty area entries. And you can, again, without looking at all the stats and the heat maps, you can imagine where they would have been in the pitch. And that guy he's not been away that long. Now, since he's been at Celtic, it's been a bit of a different show, hasn't it? We've been a bit more attacking. He's been played in the wide areas under Martin O'Neill. He's been pretty good for us. But as you can see, it's in and out, shake it all about, on the bench, off the bench, doesn't play, and all the rest of it. It was good in the Dundee derbies. Yeah, that's a good shout. Quinny, remember in the pre-season Como Cup, we played that Saudi mob when Trusty did the same thing wherein their striker was holding his shirt and it was received well. Oh, I don't remember that. Can you tag me in a clip or tell me where I would find it, Kaiser Soze? It seems strange that Arthur came on against Hibs when we needed a goal. Yeah, so I also agreed. I thought he came on far too quickly. Far too quickly. I would just fear McCowan at Zombieland. We really need to... Again, like, I know this was at home to Rangers, but he did this for Dundee. Even for us, actually, this is the Celtic stuff. He's played against Rangers for us enough times. Do we have any... It's off the bench regularly, I think, isn't it? Get a wee assist here at home. 3-2 loss. Let's not think about that one too long. And then he started, this game. Again, a 3-1 loss. Yeah, maybe he's not a good omen. He's made 2 starts and he's not won them. But I think if we're to keep the conversation on the team, the shape, everything's the same, it has to be McCowan. And the thing with McCowan versus Hatate for me, and again, this is a bit of a rehash from when we spoke about this before, is I trust McCowan to be disciplined. See, if McCowan knows this is the job, he will do it. He will do it. He will do what the team needs him to do. Hatate, he'll think, oh, I can be attacked. I can get into this little pocket. I'm not needed in defence right now. And if I am, I'll get there. I'll recover. And then the principle of the matter gets undone. I think if you played McCowan here, you can bet your bottom dollar he will do what he is told to the letter, to the best of his ability. And to compound how I think this is, if you're keeping everything the same, now the only move that can be made is because I think McGregor would trust McCowan a lot more than even a Bernardo or a Tati or whatever, where if McGregor does see space, he's going to take it. He's going to maybe move forward a bit more. And yeah, maybe him and McCowan do have that kind of Billy Gilmore, McGregor dynamic. And again, if you think back to those few Scotland games they played together, they took moments in the match. Sometimes McGregor would break the lines. Sometimes Gilmore would break the lines. And again, we have seen McGregor and McCowan together. And we have seen that little kind of thing work out. And I just don't see any reason why, if we're keeping everything the same, that's the way to go. Now, there's a lot of room for manoeuvre, and there's lots of great suggestions for changing things, which we'll get to in a second. We'll bring in 50 million in from selling Engels, Trusty Maeda, and Tati. I can believe it. I can believe it. I don't think Engels changes in price. I know some of you are saying you probably think he has, and we've missed the boat on selling him. I just don't see it. So if he goes for around the 25 mark, you're looking at 25 for the three of them. It's an average of like 8 million, 7 million each. Yeah, I can see it. I can see it. To fix the midfield, we need to change to a 4-4-2. And you like the fullbacks in the way. Oh, you went with Yang. Interesting. Now, one thing I do think, right, that we're going to see from a lot of your suggestions is there's a lot of change, right, that is wanted. One thing I'm going to highlight, that a lot of the change that you guys are shouting to me in the chat. Let's put the chat on the screen, actually. Sorry. A lot of the things that you guys are shouting to me in the chat, and something that actually fits some of the decision-making and the tactics we've seen so far, is that we had Yang and Tuneke both start at the weekend. We've had Forrest and Tuneke or Yang, whatever. We've had a few of them kind of play together, the wingery wingers. But more often than not, we have tried to play Dyson in there, and we're going to play him as like a secondary forward. Yeah, he's going to run the line and smash a cross in or whatever, but more often than not, we have chosen one of the wingery wingers to play. And I think if you keep that in the front of your head and make a decision where McCowan, McGregor, Negren, or any other combination of this as a midfield three is not going to be good enough. Has errors, has problems, has missing attributes in it that we, as we mentioned before, do not have the personnel to cover for, to supplement with, right? So I agree. Change is probably the best way to actually fix the midfield. Let's just leave Chvanchara on screen as the single striker at the moment. Oh, no, actually, I was going to say I've got a better idea. Oh, I might have a better idea. Let's leave Chvanchara here at the moment, right? Let's clean up the defence. Oh, I've just had a great idea, by the way. I'll go through all the other stuff that I'd pre-prepared and planned anyway, but I'll just come up with an even nicer one. A few of you guys have mentioned 4-2-2. Some of you have mentioned 3 at the back. Some of you have mentioned 4-4-2 and doing some different things, right? And I think we'll talk about a lot of that. I think there's a lot of credence, a lot of credibility to all of those options. The one thing I want to keep at the front of my mind when I'm doing content talking to you guys is something that could actually happen, because I love jumping into the rabbit hole and going, especially pre-Wilfred Nancy. Imagine we played 3 at the back. Remember, we used to do that quite a lot, you know, and oh, we could play this guy here, and oh, we could play that there, and oh, Brendan went to 3 in the back for 5 minutes at the end of a game one time. Maybe that's a precursor. I don't think Martin O'Neill is going to go 3 at the back. I don't think Maloney following him. I don't think they... and you know, it's probably the main reason for Wilfred Nancy's insistence on doing all that, right? But coaches have a repertoire. Coaches have sessions, tactics, things that they know all the answers to, they're comfortable with, and they can instruct and coach players to whatever level that they operate in. None of these guys are none of them, if you were to ask them honestly, privately, would say, I could get Celtic to play 3 at the back tomorrow in time for the Rangers game. I don't think any of them would believe that. So I just don't think there will be any actual real world energy spent on it. So that's kind of where I sit on that, sadly. What I do think is the easiest, and I think this is the main element of this to factor in, because again, just to put it on screen, because you guys have mentioned it, and it is a nice idea. You maybe, and it doesn't really help with Stuttgart, okay, but you go McGregor and Ox, and you double up the fullbacks, yeah? So you move Araujo and Tierney on one. We bring in Scratchy and Donovan. You're going to move Negren up one, I suppose. And then we've got somebody up front, yeah? So we've got him supplementing the striker, can get a bit deeper to get the ball. And again, we're after that kind of double pivot, double piston action. One moves forward, one sits with these two guys. Somebody's even mentioned diamond shapes. That I think that kind of thing could work as well. So when you mentioned this to me before, and I know this is a bit of a popular theory that's coming out there now, the main problem I have with this is when we do not have the ball, which, you know, is something to think about. It's also not how you win matches always, but we will just end up being like Kilmarnock. It will just happen. Araujo, Tierney, they will just, their instincts will kick in, you know. And then when we try and fly up the pitch, you know, is that the kind of running you want Tierney to do? It's the first thing I would probably say that springs to mind here. But also, there's just a lot of ground to cover. And I get the principle behind it. I like the thought behind it. I do think it would work against some. I don't think it would work against Rangers, to be quite honest with you. A team where we won't dominate the ball. Now, I think if we're going to play, let's say, Dundee or Aberdeen or something like that, then this becomes a lot more effective, because really, in reality, in those games, as we spoke about and as Stuttgart highlighted, you don't need all those defenders. You know, you could really double up on the wide areas, double fullback. You let the midfield go a bit. And yeah, if you want like real wing options, real wide efforts where you've got guys hitting the line, underlaps, overlaps, cutbacks, he can cross from deep, he can get into the box, and you're just going to hit these two guys, and maybe somebody else can join in the party once in a while. Like I say, I can get behind it, because Taneki's delivery is on and off. Yang's delivery is on and off. Dyson's is on and off, you know. Yeah, I think that, especially against I don't think this is happening in Stuttgart. I think that's more of a longer term solution people are after without Arnie Engels in the building. Celtic podcast wars is going to explode in the next few months. What makes you say that? What makes you say that? I'm not at war with anyone, honestly. Like, that's part of the, like, see, when people have been like coming after me, somebody said today, oh, where is it, by the way? Where, I know, I didn't want to put it on, but somebody said to me today, I don't even know who you are. It's like, you're calling me all this stuff and you're saying I'm doing all that. You don't even know anything. Anyway, blah, 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 whatever. But yeah, that would be funny, I guess, I suppose. But I don't really know what do you know that I don't know, Sel? Where's the wars coming from and why is it going to kick off? I'm not fighting with anyone, man. I don't have any hard feelings towards anyone. And any Celtic fan that wants to be upset with the weekend, again, like, I totally get it. You're right to feel upset, and I'm not going to tell you whatever. I'm sorry I posted the picture. Anyway, blah blah blah, whatever. What is your wife? I don't even know how to answer that. Was it your wife? Oh, it might have been my wife. By the way, I'm up for podcast boxing. I would win that. Just tell you that they do for free. Anyway, we're getting distracted. I like this idea. I like this sentiment. I think it would work. I just don't think it would work against Rangers. It would maybe work against Hearts because of how McInnes has been playing, like left backs at right mid and crazy stuff like that. It would maybe work against them and other opponents. As I say, I think it has a bit of credibility. But again, like if we're going to be deep and driving up the pitch, I think you're not going to get what you want out of Tierney. You might out of Araujo, and then maybe then are you right leaning? You know, are you maybe then right? And again, I think if that's the case, I think you maybe swap them. Maybe that's even what the chat is. In fact, you know, Sriracha in front of Tierney. In fact. And you could go a bit right leaning. You tuck Tierney in. This looks like Nancy ball again, doesn't it? And you throw the right hand side up the pitch a bit more. This could work. It definitely could. But I think it's the trustee loses appeal. I've not heard anything about the appeal other than Celtic have done it. I really hope we'll do a Stuttgart preview tomorrow, right? Spoiler. For all things for the rest of the season, I really hope the midfield is McCowan, Bernardo, Hatate. Thank you very much. Yeah, no, I spiral. You know what I'm like? You get me talking about something, and I motor mouth my way through it. Or word salad, as I heard somebody say, which is funny. I love that expression. I don't normally use it to, to describe myself, but it does fit. It does fit. The shoe fits and all that. They will play long ball over and over on Sunday. Need height to head the ball and pace in and around the box to pick up second and third balls. Now, Sugarman, second and third balls, again, this is a big problem with our midfield. It's not just we want to get on the ball, dominate and play through the middle, but it is also exactly what you've highlighted there, that not only can teams play through us, but they can cheat up the pitch, because second balls, we just ball watch everything. Nobody really picks up man or protects space and shuts stuff down. Sorry, 2 seconds. Who's a walloper? Is he still a walloper? I'm interested who that is, sorry. Is Tom Rogic available? He probably well is, by the way. I think Martin O'Neill could spring a surprise for Sunday, Phil. I genuinely do. Because I think he knows that change is needed and that this system isn't like, fixed. Engels is a massive loss. Yeah, need some fight of the weekend. I'm with you there, McMahon. Quinny, I'm a bad man. Tussle with tigers, wrestle with crocodiles. Hospitalize a rock murderer. A bricker man so bad I make medicine sick. Oh, yes. I'm so bad I make medicine sick. That's Muhammad Ali, isn't it? If Trusty wins his appeal, I don't know. I don't know where that sits in terms of the time scale, when they'll do it, how they'll do it, or whatever. The centre of the pitch is far too reactive. Exactly. Jesus, Mary and Joseph, I'm with you there. So I think the easiest way, I think we've spoken about the easiest way. I think the best way to fix the midfield problem from where we're at right now, some of you have said it already, is put another person in there. Because between the guys that we have right now, let's just put the best 11 kind of thing back together. We'd know that we don't have the balance that we need. Oxlade-Chamberlain is very good at holding centre. Something I think we need a little bit of. McGregor's collecting the ball from the back, and we need to keep Negren higher up the pitch. Now, something actually just kind of dawned on me when we were beginning to chat about this, right? And what I was going to go on and say, so I'll kind of do what I was going to do with this, right? I think if you add, I would even, you could say Hatate, you could say McCowan, whoever, right? I would add a fourth person into the mix here, somehow, somewhere. And when you do that, you have to take somebody else out of the equation, which is why a lot of use, the three at the back chat is coming up, because take a guy out defense and you can get them somewhere else. I get that. I would actually take somebody out the forward line for this, okay? Now, what I was initially going to say with this is you play whoever you want to play up front, pick your poison between Adamu, Iheanacho, and Big Tam. Probably safe to assume most of us are in the Big Tam camp. And then you play one of the other wide players alongside. And this player has freedom to be left or right, to come inside, to press. And you really give Negren as much of a free role as you possibly can. McGregor's got more players around him. We put more of an onus on playing through the middle. And if we know that whoever's out wide, if we know that they're on the left, then we're going left. Yeah? Tuck in and shuffle. The 4-2-2-2 type of principles that you were bringing up before. This guy's on the left. Well, on the right, then we focus on the right. And we get players into those pockets and we act accordingly. Centre forward stays centre. The Negren stays up front. And the team kind of balances around where the point of attack will be from the wide player that we have, right? But the little penny drop I actually had, as we were discussing it a few moments ago, is if we were to do this type of shape, why don't we actually forget Chvan Chara and use Dyson, Tuneki Yang, two of them to be the strikers, as it were. And if you think about that 4-2-2-2 shape, versions of it I've really enjoyed have been Leipzig, when they've had the likes of like Timo Werner, Christopher Nkunku, these types of guys, where they actually will be a wide forward on each side. And then as a team, you're really splitting the defence up. Now, Negren is walking into the zone of being a false 9 in this type of dynamic. And I think you could even make a really strong argument to maybe even say you go Dyson and Negren in these types of spots, and maybe Taneki's a bit deeper. And yeah, if that was the case, I would. Now, yeah, we kind of do want a bit of height here. I do think this would be a lot. I think Yang and Taneki, who knows how well they could do in this type of shape, because they will want to be wide and stuff. On paper, I think this could be actually pretty sick. It takes a lot of training, but because when you are 4-2-2-2, you do kind of forfeit the wide areas to an extent. And it does take a lot of training and such, which is why, yeah, I'd be more inclined to actually have whoever the wingers are. And I had Dyson here through respect, right? But if we forget that for a minute and just think about who's actually on form and who's good wingers, Tati kind of goes up front quite a lot. And I think, again, if you just gave him and Negren a lot more freedom to live in the final third here, gave them wingers to play with, and then they had backup, as well as the usual wide support, I think we gain a lot of control in the middle all of a sudden. Now, with what I've got on screen here, yeah, you maybe lose a little bit of target man element. Negren will be a bit easier to pick up without somebody like Tam in front of him. I get that. But I think the number one thing I would be looking to achieve as a coach at Celtic right now, as Martin O'Neill, as whoever, is how do we get a 4-man midfield put together? And again, probably conventional wisdom would probably just make this Chvan Chara and Dyson, although I would want probably Taneki or Yang rather than Dyson. But you probably want Tam for the presence and trying to buy fouls and stuff. And Dyson would probably quite revel in the freedom. You've got Hitati and Negren. So again, when we're off the ball and we're pressing, we should have 4 people available, 2 guys in the mid zone, and then full back in defence doing their normal thing. So we can press the way we like to. But also when we're coming out from defence and we're stretching ourselves around, we should have the ability to read the game, where Dyson's on the left, on the right. So we want to go onto the right and appropriately kind of fill in. And equally, if Dyson was to pop up on the left, again, when we play out from the back, we can be a bit more deliberate and execute a bit better. And because we've got 4 players in the middle, it's not really many teams are going to outnumber you there. And if Negren wants to peel out wide to cover Dyson, it doesn't actually let us down. The main thing we're missing is the back post runner. It's the main thing you lose with this type of situation, which on this side with Araujo, on the other side with Tierney, I wouldn't rule them out getting involved anyway. And it does allow space for even one of these guys to join in and support, which both of them have varying degrees of interest in doing. Diamond with Sriracha and McCowan. Diamond is, yeah, I think with Diamond being specifically mentioned, Jesus, Mary and Jota, I would only think about that in the sense of like if we were playing like scales at the base of the diamond or something, because again, then in possession, it would just walk up to be a back 3, essentially. But I don't think we have a guy that could sit base of diamond. I think that's the problem initially that we're trying to get around. So again, it kind of looks Nancy Bally a wee bit, but I would very much go with 1 wide forward or target man forward, and I would go 4-man midfield in here. You're going to get a lot of work ethic out of Hatate. If you can allow Negren the ability to be left in the final third, you give McGregor a panel to play with and good cover in the middle, I think a lot of the problems in transition and building up the play goes away quite quickly. No chance that happens, Quinny. Yeah, exactly. I'm trying to keep it as close to reality as possible. And I do think of all the probables, this is the closest I think we could get to a surprise. I think the most likely thing, like we mentioned, is it's just McCowan that comes in for a chance. The Celtic way. Indeed. Especially once we're dominant. Forget the Rangers game at the weekend, but any other team we're going to play against, you can really just stretch the dominance onto this where like you could really throw everything at it and you've still, again, you could even just leave Scales and Trusty, Tierney on the half turn or Araujo on the half turn, depending on who's up and supporting what side of the pitch we're on. I think it would give us a lot. I just don't see 3 at the back happening. Do you think inverted fullbacks in response to the side the winger's on. Yeah, yeah, you could definitely kind of go into it in a bit more kind of detail in that sense for sure. Like maybe tuck the Tierney in, have him out wide, allow one of the midfielders a bit higher up. Yeah, you could definitely do a bit of that. But I think you need somebody, if that does happen, rather than supporting the wide area, if you see like, oh, we're playing up Dyson, the player on this side is you're probably after, I don't think you want him to invert. I think you're after back post action if possible, or also cover wide in case, like, again, if we're out here and we lose the ball, what does the team want to do? They want to play into space. So you kind of need to have that shut down. So, yeah, I don't think you want to tuck him in. I can see tucking him in, but I think it's at the gain of somebody else moving forward and allowing an overlap to happen here. An underlap, overload. We need more than one up front because we need to get crowded out crosses. Yeah, so I agree with that. And I do think it's, but this type of thing, you're looking to just make sure Hatate and Negren can be in the box as much as anything. You're asking a lot from wingers, wing backs, fullbacks, especially these guys. They do like to play the ball in early. And again, I think these guys will get into spaces where they can have give and goes. They can play around the corner with each other. Yeah, if we're getting into this situation where we're high up the pitch and we're smashing balls into the box, then I get where you're coming from. We maybe don't have the ability to maybe not play Tam here and some of these other little sketches that I had. I get that. So the 4-4-2 or the 4-4-1-1, we can add a wee glance at that. We've looked at double fullbacking. Again, I think there's some credibility in that. I think it could work, certainly. We looked at just straight, it's McCowan's turn. McCowan really has everything we need, or the most of what we need that's in the squad. And Bernardo's had his chance. Maybe Hatate comes in, whatever. But I think the number one way you do this is just putting an our midfielder in. You just go to 4. You make the sacrifice because the front 3, if you look at it recently, hasn't been pressing under Martin O'Neill and Sean Maloney for the last couple of weeks the way it has been. The press has been nerfed. We have told them not to do it. We have coached it out of them. They have lost their motivation to whatever. Very little time to develop a new tactic. Yeah, totally. Which is why I think like this is not much of an adaptation. You're telling the team you're losing a winger. Hatate, you get to be an attacking midfielder. Negren, you get to be an attacking midfielder. And you two guys just keep doing what you've been doing anyway. Now, there's a bit of legwork to be done in this wide area. So you guys need to cover that. Maybe you just have Hatate on this side because Hatate has that work ethic. And you maybe just treat him as a false kind of winger in some way. But I think this is the one you could actually move to dead easy. It's the closest one to the current system. And McGregor likes to be on the ball, take time, pick his side. I don't think we would struggle to understand Dyson's left, play left, or Dyson's move sides, or Yang, or Tuneke. I would prefer them over Dyson because I think whoever you're going to have here needs to be able to beat people and then link up with whoever is coming to join in with him. And I think you want Tuneke and Yang for that type of job rather than Dyson, which then is why I kind of had, do you know what? If you were to do that, then maybe you could even have them split at times. I think that could be really interesting, where you really give a team a lot to think about, So I could get behind that. But again, you lose that presence to cross into the box, which we kind of need right now. So I'm with you there. Oh, fair. Okay, cool. He's just talking about Rangers teams and stuff. That's great insight. Are we looking anything like a Sean Maloney Hibs team? Do you know, I was actually beginning to think that when I was at the game at the weekend because I was rather for this. I was at the game Thursday, Sunday, so it's the most I've seen a Celtic in person this season. And would you cry? I was thinking that myself when I seen Sean Maloney kind of coming and going from the bench because Martin O'Neill was out and he was right before the sending off and substitutions and stuff, but he was telling that Tuneke was in this type of zone here, like maybe Hibs had a throw in down here, and Martin O'Neill was like shouting at Tuneke, like get out there, and he just wasn't really half taking him on. Maloney was coming out and he was talking to players like in and around this kind of area. Don't really know what happened, but I had that thought of, Maloney's a good coach and all the rest of it, but he wasn't that successful when he'd done it himself. He wasn't wildly successful anyway, of course. And is this a little bit of the shortcomings that he maybe has right now showing himself in the team where the lack of it's the in-game management, in-game decisions. I think I often bemused, but especially at the weekend, we brought the centre back on straight away. Get Quinty a prawn sandwich. I'm hungry. Yang was pitch versus Hibs. Yeah, I don't think he was great. Our pressing line leaves us very open. Teams like Dundee and Livy are playing through it with ease. Makes me question how good our current coaches really are. It's a great observation. Because again, the press when it's half baked, we've got some players in advanced positions, and maybe Dyson and Hatate or Yang and somebody, they're trying to press. But again, like we're talking about, huge amount of space then maybe opens up, the ball gets turned over, and before you know it, where's the ball? The ball gets played through the big zone of space that's been left because maybe guys have stepped off as well, and they've, again, we're easy to play through, like the comment suggests. Yeah, Calmac will probably get doubled up on. I could see that. I could see them sitting on Calmac for sure. So, yeah, looking at Stuttgart, we'll do that tomorrow in a lot more detail. The midfield is broken. It desperately needs fixed. I think the two best solutions possible, put McCowan in alongside McGregor and really say to them, McCowan, your job is to bodyguard Callum McGregor. You are going to just look after him. If we get on the ball, you're going to make sure don't get me wrong, sometimes McCowan, if it's on you, like, take it, you can do that thing, you can read the game, but more often than not, you cover him. If he's going up, you cover, just don't let McGregor, we need McGregor higher up the pitch. Let him get higher up the pitch and you just cover for him all day, bodyguard him. If he loses the ball and the ball turns over, give the free kick away. Don't let anything happen in here. If you need to recover, give your pals, delay. Like we do anyway. We're very good at delayed defense, aren't we? I think, yeah, that's the safest, quick, like, how do we make this better from the weekend? But ultimately, we'd need an arm midfielder because the press isn't working. The front three isn't effective. We don't really have, and I want it to be Taneke and Yang. For the most part, I think that our best wingers are on form wingers. And that's a great observation as well. Taneke doesn't know what to do when KT drives forward. He does. Decision making is definitely the point Taneke's at right now. We've seen an increase in confidence. We've seen an increase in production, and we can see that technically he's actually got better with some of his shots and crosses. Not became the finished article, not totally broke through, and that is, I think, a great observation. Where quite often, I think a lot of the times we've been, he's not got the end. It's these types of situations where Tierney drives forward and maybe he's like, I don't know what to do, or he gets caught in two minds, or he's not clinical enough, not decisive enough to just go with the flow. Would you drop Ox? I don't think Oxlade-Chamberlain's actually done anything to be in the team beyond show his pedigree. He's also scored that goal, right? Don't get me wrong. But the game at the weekend, he didn't grab the game by the scruff of the neck. He didn't overtly show me anything that's different to stylistically what we've had in midfield previously. He's just quite clearly like one of the best players in the team on actual football ability. And we can't afford to not have him in the team if he's available right now. Paul from Celtic Fans TV said, what I was thinking when Trusty gets sent off, we looked like we had 8 men, not 10. I think that's a great point because at that, Dyson Maeda also just came on. I kind of spoke about this anyway, but I felt we were down to 10 men when Dyson came on anyway. I didn't quite put it as well as Paul has here. I quite like the way he's done it. But I feel we were down to 10 men when Dyson came on. And then when Trusty gets sent off and then we take off to Netke, like, yeah, I would probably go along with that. It felt like back 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, I would probably say the exact same thing if I was clever enough to think of it. I'd sooner drop Calmac. I just don't think you can afford to do that right now. I did see that, by the way. I thought it was fake. It's just, like I said it not long ago, but see, as soon as the Hearts results went against us, I forget which one it was, but you really noticed the old school petty refereeing came back. Like it kind of, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying the rest were great for a few years or whatever, but the refereeing since, you guys maybe remember when it was, but it was one of those games where it really was like, oh no, Celtic are not definitely going to win the league this year. There's trouble in paradise kind of thing. And they're pulling out all the stops, man. They're pulling out all the stops to crush Celtic. I think they all smell the blood in the water. And we had that collective minutes that came out from their meeting that they had recently. And essentially, I read a quote from Brian Wilson that said Michael Nicholson's doing a fine job and he's acceptable. So, you know, that old, what was it, Dave King quote, like lose one league and they'll fold like a pack of cards or whatever. It obviously didn't happen last time, but I think we all fear that that's kind of the situation we're in. Again, not to go too much into the politics stuff right now, but like the not another penny campaign, the reduced revenues, the reduced budgets. We're not going to qualify for, we're not going to win the league. We're not going to qualify for Champions League next year. Who do we recruit as manager? We sell then half the team, and then who are we buying? So that, you know, thing where we could be in a lot of trouble for a while is at our door, which is why January was so massive, which is why, again, the failure of the board to read the situation, to read the tea leaves and understand that we need the rainy day fund. We need to buy the league in January. But no, we didn't. We decided to loan ourselves into some situations. Controversial statement, but the best we've looked this season is the first 45 minutes of games under Nancy. Now, Stevie, that is maybe controversial, but I don't actually think you would get pushback. I think everyone would agree under Nancy, chance creation went through the roof. The first halves showed massive potential for success. There was just so much wrong with that appointment. It's not worth rehashing, but I would agree that's probably a controversial statement, but I don't actually think you'll get many fighting you. Did you see the big change in betting for new manager? No, I didn't. Pray tell. Is it for better Lasku? What is the big change in the betting for the manager? I know it's no chance, but do you not fancy sticking Araujo and Sriracha in his holding mids? Do you know both of them? That's an interesting thought. How are we getting? Because McGregor's not going to be dropped. I don't think you can take Negren out of the team. I do. That's why I want to. I do like the thought of this, because if they can just both be like Greg Taylor players, where they're in the middle but they can spring out here. You know, they are inverted fullbacks in here, starting at defensive mid, but they spray out wide. And yeah, if we had like this type of shape, and let's say Big Tam and Tineke, it's interesting. It's interesting. I just don't think it gets off the ground, but it is interesting. Probably not. I think Negren likes a shot from outside the box, so does Ox. I don't think anyone else would bother. Maybe McGregor once in a while. Winding us up for major fall. Do you think so? Odds on favourite now. Ask who is that? A few tweaks of how Nancy had us set up and the personnel changed. Maybe that's a solution. Yeah, I just don't see them going back to it personally. The Gren behind Tam, I agree that could work for sure. If you're not doing that, surely use KT in a holding role. Again, I could get behind it. I just don't see how you don't play Ox, and like I think this just takes too many players that you like. Yeah, it could work, man. It could work. It's a nice idea. It's a nice thought. It's a nice thing to look at and think about. And yeah, I'm not sure I would. Yeah, the Motherwell manager's odds-on favourite now. So yeah, I wouldn't be backing. I think Maeda plays Stuttgart shop window. I don't think he starts against Rangers. I think he comes off the bench again, to be honest. And with Iheanacho, I am quietly in my own mind. I think this is a contractual thing for Iheanacho. I think if you remember how the deal went down, he cancelled his contract with Sevilla, and he would. So the way it works legally is he cancels his contract with Sevilla. To do that, he buys himself out of his contract with Sevilla. Let's just make up a random number and say that's £500,000, right? And he's already got an agreement with Celtic that if you can buy yourself out of your Sevilla contract, we'll square you up for that. And you're signing on bonus and your payments and all the rest of it. So that is an element. The second element to think about here is we know he would have been on good wages. We didn't sign any other striker. We were clearly desperate as sin for him. And, you know, he's not going to be not on good money. I've heard a lot of reports saying he's on 30, 40 or even 50 grand. Some people are suggesting. Who knows? But he's not on Greg Taylor money or Johnny Kenny money or anything like that, right? He'll also have goal bonuses. But the deal is an option for 1 year. It's a 1 year deal with an option of a further year. And I believe we've spent a lot of money on Iheanacho already. The club will see it as. And I believe either that option is maybe an automatic trigger that if he makes so many league appearances or plays so many minutes or is involved in so many match day squads, some sort of criteria around that. Or it will be a case of maybe not as quite for the extension for the year contract, but again, it's a similar thing of, you know, like he's on 25 grand a week. But if he was to play 30 plus games, he would have been on 35 grand and he'll get a bonus for that. He'll get backdated money or something. Because he did have questions around fitness when we signed him as well. So I would imagine a mechanic like that might exist in his deal. But I think Iheanacho's treatment recently is 100% financially driven or motivated or controlled by money, personally. Some of the chat's hilarious today. I spend Johnny Kenny money at the ice cream fan. So I've heard that WhatsApp rumor today from two people. Latest WhatsApp rumor is there is a board meeting with Martin and he wants to leave. I've heard that twice. I don't know where you've heard it from. If it's the same place as me, then it doesn't really help me think it's gathering pace. But again, who knows? But it's no money in comparison to how much we lose if we lose the league. Indeed. It's a big part of the club and the board that they don't get. You need to, it's not just speculate to accumulate, but you need to grease the wheels of industry almost, you know, where to continually get Champions League money, you need to replenish the squad. You need to, you know, it's like any kind of basic stock driven business, you know, you have your seed money, you buy your stock, you have no money until you sell your stock. When you sell your stock, you've made all the money, but you won't make any more money until you buy more stock. And our problem has been that we are like running a pound shop and we did really well at actually getting some grade A random bits now and again that are like, you know, Oxford Street, London fashion gear that we've got in the pound shop. And we managed to sell one or two bits like that once in a while. And then we think, oh, we're really good at this. Let's continue to get cheap crap stuff and overcharge for it until one of the things isn't actually a cheap crap thing and it's actually genuinely an amazing thing. And then it makes all of our money back. And there's just no, oh, what about if we buy good stuff that we can actually sell dead easy? That was dead easy. We made a lot of money on that deal. How about we buy something that actually could be sold that way and we can control that? That's the sort of money we're going to make on the end of it. I'm doing a really bad job of this example now, I think, but you're maybe with me. I don't think Martin O'Neill would do that. I'm kind of inclined to agree, but I think where this rumor probably comes from is that there's probably been like showdown talks of some description. I also have a slight hunch, there's been wee whispers that have been around from when he left last time that he was offered a non-day-to-day role, that he may be sizing up a non-day-to-day role thereafter. His football mission to Motherwell, watching Motherwell play, and we never bidded for any Motherwell players, think this is the 4th or 5th or how many times I've said this on the channel, but that was a scouting mission for the manager. For everything you're talking about there, it feels like there's some proof in the pudding. But it might just be that there's been a real harsh, like, meeting of the minds, and these have screwed me over with loans and all the rest of it. And maybe he's not going to do the day-to-day, the non-day-to-day role in the future. I don't think he leaves before the season's out. But I think this is, I think there's a nugget of truth in this rumor where there's probably been a meeting and Martin's been like, you know, quite steadfast and quite forefront in the reality of the situation as he sees it. And yeah, we're getting to a wee bit of chat on the rumor and stuff like that, which is great. Car salesman would have been a better analogy. That's a great one. Yeah. So we've bought a bunch of bangers, but we've found out that 1 or 2 of them are actually like classic cars that millionaires want to buy, like Jay Leno or whoever. Jay Leno, who's our guy who spends all the money on cars? It was a UK guy, Chris Evans, you know, or whoever, I don't know. They want to buy your classic car off you, and it's like, oh, let's just keep going to the scrap heap, and we'll just try and keep finding these random classic pieces. And yeah, that doesn't work. Yeah, I like the car one. Maybe I took it a different place from where you went. Feel free to correct me or do it properly. I don't mind. Yeah, I think there's been a bit of chat around that. I forget who was having it with me, but like, yeah, I think Martin O'Neill was involved in that kind of like scandal thing that where people get Knightsbridge or whatever it's called. Somebody was chatting to me about that recently, but I think he was involved in that and subsequently needs the Cali Dosh. So yeah, I'm kind of, I don't think, and I think that's a big part of his gratitude to Desmond right now, is that this bails him out of his situation in a big way. Bought a Honda Civic or 2. Oh, that's where we should have taken that chat. We are the football club version of Storage Wars. That's a great way of doing it. The Storage Wars thing half came to me when I was doing my first analogy, but I just tried to not confuse myself. Yeah. It's just it's not screenshots of conversations. It's somebody saying, apparently there was a meeting in Martin O'Neill, blah, blah, blah. You know, so it's not even like a screenshot. It's just a mad forwarded message. It's getting slung around everywhere. Team looks so sluggish at the moment. And I think, Diane, you're right. And I think that feeling is why a lot of people want McGregor maybe dropped, taken out the team. I don't want McGregor to play Thursday. I want him to, he'll probably be on the bench, but I want him to maybe take a wee step back. I think McGregor would do great for being on the bench for a game, personally. But yeah, the team is exhausted. We have played 42, 43 matches this year. Hearts will play 44 by the time the season finishes. We are on track for 57, I think, 58 matches this year, if memory serves me right. And yeah, we need the midfield. That's why I think an extra body in there is probably the quickest and easiest solution. But yeah, be sure to let me know your thoughts and feelings in the comments section if you've watched this after we've been live. And to everyone that has been here live today, your heroes and legends, thank you very much. We had a super chat today as well from Gus Fitzsimmons. Thanks again for that. It really does mean a lot. It goes a long, long way. I think Nicholson would have just shrugged his shoulders if Martin O'Neill asked to leave. Like, I don't care. Calmac as player manager would be like Kenny at Liverpool. I kind of like the thought of that in a weird way. But I don't want Callum McGregor involved in transfer business. And if Calmac was player coach, where would he play himself? That's a great question. I'd love to ask him, but we're never going to get the chance, are we? Yeah, that's the thing. Knights, yeah. So I think he's not walking away from a payday at this point, is he? And yeah, maybe there's something like that with Iheanacho. He was on for 20 minutes and got injured, couldn't keep fit. Maybe it is that. But I don't know. When I seen he was in the squad, out the squad in training, not in training, I'm thinking this feels like, expense management. Cat would play himself up front. Do you think so? I'd love that. I would love that. He'll definitely going to be a coach in the future. If not, he'll be like the Jamie Carragher of pundits up here, where he'll be proper, because he loves the, you can tell he really loves the football aspect of the team. Some of the chat around that's been quality, by the way. Pointing from the touchline once he subs himself. Yeah, you can see it right now. But yeah, thanks everyone. I'll see you tomorrow. We'll be back here. Yeah, 4 o'clock. We'll go for the same time, and we'll have a Stuttgart preview. We'll have a wee bit of a look of some of the stuff we've kind of spoke about a wee bit today. Maybe we'll have a bit of a press conference to go over. Maybe some further developments. Maybe the WhatsApp rumours will be extinguished, or maybe snowball a little bit. Who knows? But again, I can't say enough, guys. Thanks to all of you for all the support, all the love, all the everything's, likes and comments, and really means a lot. It's not lost on me. It will not be forgotten. And we'll keep the show going here because it's all about the football. Original fan content by fans for fans. And all we want is the best Celtic we could possibly get. Enjoy the rest of your day, everyone. Hail, hail, and on the hoops. Big Jimmy boy didn't realise this was a live stream. That's how production perfect I've been today. A huge compliment, and I love it, and I'm taking it, even if it wasn't meant as a compliment. Thanks, mate. Oh, last thing before we go. I hope you all haven't left yet. Let me find this hoodie. Let me find this hoodie. I will find it. There's another one I might buy. Fenerbahce have got some right good gear. Not another penny to Celtic, but we don't mind maybe giving Fenerbahce a few quid. Oh, that's a nice one. I might buy that next time. The shipping was really quick. Oh, where the hell is it, man? Oh, I think I might find it here. I'm just going to pop this on screen so it's not as boring for you guys. But this is how other clubs operate, by the way. I was close to buying this one, the black one. I might still buy that. It might still be around here somewhere. You talk about how much merch Celtic have. Oh, that's a nice one. But where is this? It'll be here somewhere. And nobody give me a hard time for putting the Fenerbahce shop on the channel, because not another penny. And some of you asked where the hell I got this. The body armor looks all right. I might need to further filter because this is just scrolling into oblivion here. Category. Let's do jacket. No. Raincoat? No. Body. Oh, this is annoying. How most favorited. Does that help? In terms of Celtic chat, it is done. But if he's an after where the hell this jumper came from, I don't know if it's even here anymore. I like this one too. That looks good. That looks good as well. And if you do the conversion rate on the money, by the way, it is Turkey prices. It's cheap. I think this is like 30 quid, including the postage 40, which is really, really good. If I can find the bloody thing. I maybe put sweatshirt or something, maybe. It's sold out, maybe. I will. No, I'll give it an RB minute, mate. I'll give it an RB minute because two of you asked for it, and I'd feel bad if I just ran away from you after asking for something. Yeah. Sweatshirt, shorts, team jersey, Mont. What's a Mont? Oh, maybe the Mont helps us. No. Coat? No. Put fleece. No. 2 seconds. Sweatshirt. It might be sold out. Oh, there it's there. It's on Facebook and stuff. Is this it here? Hey, there we go. We found it. There's the link. Copy into the live chat. Boom. There we go. Off-white Tribune pocket detail men's plush sweatshirt. And again, if we convert that to pounds, I say, what was mine? I think it was like 30 quid or something, honestly. It was not much. No, it's not euros. It's like Turkish. What's Turkish money? Lira? 50 quid. Anyway. Thanks again. See you tomorrow.